Warning: this video blog or vlog could contain harsh opinions and foul language. If you do not appreciate said content or material, well, you could just fuck right off.
Greetings, internet people. RantingRamsay here. How are you all doing today? Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to address a rant request that was recently sent to me by a YouTube watcher from Germany, which I thought was relatively interesting considering the nature of his request. And said user's name is Rockerman2610. His information is linked down in the description. And what he basically asked me were my overall opinions on the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights. I have briefly addressed this in a couple of other videos, and forgive me because I can't remember what videos those were off the top of my head, but if some of you may recall that I have stated a brief opinion that I am actually in favor of the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution, in that I believe that the citizenry does indeed have the right to own and bear firearms. I will say that in my mind that this comes with a certain number of limitations, or reasonable limitations, in that I gotta be honest, I don't really see the need for the common citizenry to own fully automatic assault rifles or fully automatic submachine guns. It seems slightly unnecessary when considered in the vein which the Second Amendment was meant, was that the whole point of that was that the citizenry had the right to firearms, or whatever, well, you know, it actually very specifically addresses firearms, to prevent their homeland from being taken over. You know, at the time it was specifically meant that because when the colonies were under British rule, that the British Army could come in at any point in time and confiscate any weapons that you happened to own, because you had no right to own those weapons according to British law at the time. And obviously, you know, so I obviously agree with the sentiment and the thought of, yes, the American citizenry does have the right to arm themselves against a threat from another nation. But, you know, and then, you know, there it comes to the topic of hunting and all that good stuff. Yes, own your hunting guns. There's nothing wrong with hunting. I myself personally find it a little difficult, you know, unless I was in dire need of the meat, you know, but other than that, you know, I'm an animal lover, you know. I love animals. I feel they have every right to exist that we do, but that doesn't mean that I disagree or look down upon the hunters, because I can understand the vicarious thrill. I can understand everything about hunting. There's a couple of friends of mine that are actually very avid hunters, and I support their pursuit, and I support their right to own firearms. Now, do I say that nobody in the United States has the right or ability to wield fully automatic firearms? Absolutely not. I do not say that at all, because I understand that there is a large number of citizens that have military training, that either are in the military or used to be in the military, and are completely and totally trained on how to use these weapons and whatnot, which is where this concept that I have comes into play, and that I believe that there should be some sort of competency exam, whereas the more powerful the firearm you want to own in terms of automatic fire and rifle caliber and stuff like that should be wholly determinant upon your skill and knowledge. And, you know, I mean, in my mind, this whole hypothetical situation comes to exactly that, like like, say you want to own a Barrett 50 cal, which in many states you can at this moment in time. Once again, I don't really have any problem with it. I don't necessarily see the necessity for it. But if you're asking me my perfect idea, which I'm sure has flaws, feel free to point them out in the comments section. that, you know, the more powerful, the more lethal, I mean, I guess every firearm is lethal, but you understand the point I'm making. The more powerful the weapon you want to own, the more rigorous the competency exam. Whereas, like, say you want to own a Barrett 50 cal or something like that, and like I said, which you can in some states, you would not only have to pass, you know, a competency exam of, well, can you hit your target, but then you'd have to literally be able to disassemble and reassemble the weapon, and then maybe write a paper on, you know, its on the functionality of the weapon itself. You know what I mean? So you understand where I'm going. It's ridiculous. It is, obviously. It's meant kind of almost in humor, but you get the point that I'm making. That it seems to me that, you know, the prolific availability of, like, super automatic, you know, friggin' like assault rifles, submachine guns and stuff like that doesn't really seem that necessary to the general citizenry. But I do indeed support the right of the citizenry to own and bear firearms. Absolutely. I just think that maybe, to culminate this whole thing, we could add a level of logic to the process, maybe, you know, maybe add some element of critical thinking, and possibly, in combination with that, level of understanding. Whereas if you spent 10 years in the military, then you know what? Maybe it is a good idea for you to go ahead and own some of the more powerful firearms, because in the outlandishly unrealistic, well, not necessarily that unrealistic, event of, you know, the United States being invaded, you know, think of the movie Red Dawn, you know what I mean? We would want that type of person, the ex-military sniper, to be able to have access to a really nice sniper rifle, because he would obviously be helpful in the resistance, you know. So, you know, I kind of, you know, like I said, I have mixed feelings about it. I believe, yes, the citizens have a right to bear firearms, but do they need, you know, an MP5? Do they need an AR, fully automatic AR-15? I really don't think so, unless you have the training and experience with that weapon that would make you exceptionally not only lethal with said weapon, but knowledgeable of its implications, for lack of a better term. So there you go. That's pretty much what I have to say on that particular subject. And then to tack this off, some of you have doubtlessly noticed the new capture method. I feel it relevant to point out to you guys that the camera that is being used right now was purchased solely with AdSense revenue. So I thought that was a nice, or a good way to say thank you to you guys, because it has been an increasingly frequent occurrence for people to notice that my video quality was going down and down and down, and I decided that that could be remedied with a new camera, and I decided to spend the YouTube money that I make off you guys watching my videos on an upgrade. You know, so short and skinny, I thought it'd be a nice way to give back. So, there you go, there you have it. I'm RantingRamsay. That is all.
Hey, did you get all that, man?
Douche.